Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Field of 68's last call. Do you think that you could take down a black bear?
No, hell no.
I'm going to try.
The first person that's going to die has got to be one of the black guys. So.
Cold cuts, they suck.
Are Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce going to get married?
Hell no.
Here we go. It's last call. It is last call on Stadium. John Fanta, Rob Dalster, Matt McCall with you tonight. We're going to take your questions. We're going to get your answers. Great job, Trevor Valise, on that wonderful new intro. And Trevor, I think we've got some questions in here this evening. Let's get right to it here. Let's get to our chat questions. This first one comes from Jacob. Love this. Rob, is this UConn team as good as 2006 Florida?
Ooh, I don't think so. Look at that 2006 Florida team and look what they had on the roster. Corey Brewer,
right
Joakim Noah, Al Horford, like pros on pros on pros on pros. Matt McCall is now frozen right now again. So he's not even going to be able to weigh in on the question.
The team had 5 NBA players.
For him. Yeah, there were 5 NBA players, and that doesn't include Torian Green or Lee Humphrey or the fact that like Billy Donovan was the coach. Like it was, yeah. I think that the way that I look at it, Fana, is it's very difficult for teams 20, 25, 30 years ago. It's difficult for teams right now to be better than teams where the players stayed for a little bit longer, right? Like when you're comparing them to the best teams from the 90s, you're generally speaking going to tend to lean with the teams that had guys that were lottery picks as juniors and seniors and went on to be NBA stars. You know what I mean? So I would tend to lean towards those other teams, but I mean, we'll find out, right?
Yeah, we will. I like, to me, I think that Florida team, those back-to-back teams, I mean, the amount of NBA talent on those teams was absurd. Joakim Noah, Torian Green, Corey Brewer, Al Horford, Chris Richard. Like those teams were just so damn special in everything that they did. And it's not to say that Connecticut isn't so damn special in who they are. But this UConn team does not have this. They've got pros. Like they've got guys who are going to get their looks. But I don't know if necessarily you don't have the same degree of pro on this UConn team. Do I think Alex Karaban's going to get drafted down the road? Yes. Do I think that Tristan Newton can get drafted? Yes, I do. But I don't think that this team has the same pro power on it right now than a Florida team did in 06. I don't. Now, one thing that's interesting, Rob, is I think Stephen Castle just keeps getting better and better and better for this UConn team. And I think you're seeing in flashes and doses the pro upside there. I guess my only question to you would be before we get to our next question is,
can I push back on that real quick with Castle? What you saw on Saturday against Villanova, I think, was really telling in the way that they guarded him. They did what teams did last year to Andre Jackson, where people have been helping off before. Villanova just did not guard him. They were like, okay, you want to shoot? Go ahead, shoot it. You'll appreciate this, Fana. I talked with Timmy Miles about this, and he calls that style of defense dorking, as in dare the dork to shoot. Right? That's what he calls it. And that's what I go with. They're dorking Steph Castle and daring him to shoot. And that's been something that's been pretty successful for teams in recent weeks. So I'm going to be very interested to see how that progresses. The key, what turned around UConn season last year, beyond like having Coach Early not focus on just the officials as much throughout the month of January, was figuring out a way to be able to make Andre Jackson a bad dude while keeping him on the floor and having teams not guard him from the perimeter. Like getting Andre Jackson to be Andre effing Jackson was what turned their season around. So I'll be very curious to see what they do with Steph Castle and how they kind of adjust to this new style of defending him. McCall, the question that was asked, and I don't know if you heard this, was, is this UConn team that could potentially go back-to-back better than the Florida Gator teams from 2006 and 2007 that did go back-to-back? You want to know what Fan and I both said? What do you think we both said?
I'm saying that they're completely different teams. So I'm saying you said that their last year's UConn team is completely different from this year's UConn team outside of a couple pieces. So it's hard to compare the two.
Well, we both said hell no. Put some respect on Gator's name. You got three top 10 picks on the roster, man. They were loaded.
That weren't top 3 picks going into their careers. I mean, Corey Brewer was the only McDonald's All-American on that entire team. So when you think about that, I mean, and going into one season completely unranked and then starting the next season with the same starting 5 to being ranked number 1 in the team in the country. I mean, it's one of the greatest college basketball teams of all time. I'm not being biased. I really believe that. But this UConn team is completely different from last year's team, and that's a credit to Coach Hurley and what they're doing. And I think you look at the top of the country, you've got Purdue, you've got UConn, and then it's kind of throw Houston a little bit in that mix, maybe Carolina, but those are the top 2 teams in the country, and that's impressive to see from UConn based on what they lost last year after winning a national championship.
All right, here we go. Brian asks, where does Iowa State fit in the Big 12 picture? Good timing, Brian, because Iowa State moved to 4-2 in the Big 12 standings tonight as the Cyclones beat Kansas State 78-67. And Milan Momcilovic, he had 19 points in this one. The freshman is a stud, Rob Dobson. They got 18 points as well from Curtis Jones, who's come into that program, transferred in, has done a terrific job from Buffalo. So where does Iowa State fit in the Big 12, Rob?
Okay, first of all, it's Milan Momcilovic, not Momcilovic. If we're gonna pronounce these names from these Serbians and these Croatians and these guys from the Balkans, we're gonna get it right. Zvonimir Ivasic and Milan Momcilovic. We're gonna get these ones right, fan. This is how we do it on the field of 68. Goodman's not here to butcher Robbie Avila's last name. We're gonna get it right. That's what we do when we're here on this show. We're professionals. I don't even remember the question you asked me. McCall, go ahead.
Where does Iowa State fit in the Big 12 standings? Because you're not high on the Big 12. So where do they fit?
Well, they're second. They're second at 4-2 because the only team better than them is 4-1 Texas Tech. Everybody in that conference is 4-2. Everybody in that league is just just pretty good. That's where I'm at.
The question's
right now.
on the screen.
Yeah.
The question is literally, you're too busy trying to pronounce some Milan Momcilovic. Where does Iowa State fit in the Big 12 picture? Who gives a fuck how you pronounce his name?
That's the question.
The question's on the left-hand side of your screen. And you go, what's the question? You go, what's the question?
You're still trying to dodge all these Twitter people tweeting at you because you didn't even have anyone in your whole game from the Big 12. Nobody.
The Big 12's mid, man. What do you want me to say? The mid-12. It's the mid-12.
No, this team.
You broke my internet, by the way, in my hotel room. You broke my internet.
Yeah, you did. You know what? Here's the thing.
He broke my internet.
Let me jump in.
In the J House in Greenwich, Connecticut, Rob Doster broke my internet. It's unbelievable.
I apologize. Sorry,
Brian,
J House.
Let me jump in, Brian. They're top 21 in the country in both Ken Pom adjusted offense and defense. Nobody has done more with less over the last 3 seasons than TJ Otzelberger has done in Ames. He's done an absolutely fantastic job at it's a great fan base. It's a very nice program. It is not the best program in the Big 12 assets-wise. It's not even top 3 in the Big 12 assets-wise. He's made it that type of team. They're top 5 in this league, guaranteed. They could be top 3 to 4 in this league. They're not first or second. I'm sorry, Brian. They're not better than Kansas. They're not better than Houston, but they're in the mix. They're right in the mix in that top 4 of the Big 12. And he's got a team between the transfers he brought in and the fact that for them to go to TCU and win was absolutely incredible. Coming up, Andrew asks Rob why he hates Tennessee so much. Extra Ducks is going to talk about mid-majors, and we're going to talk about Bill Belichick. This is last call. Yeah, that got McCall's get going. We're going to talk about Bill Belichick. Stay with us. Well, we'll try to keep it on the rails, but I don't know if that's possible. This is Last Call. John Fanta, Rob Doster, Matt McCall.
Fanta, can I ask you a question too? Did I
Yeah,
not get
sure.
the memo?
Yeah. Do you need a gear pack?
I mean, I got no gear. I got no Field 68 gear.
They'll
Nothing.
send you something.
Okay, like nothing. You didn't send me the
You know,
memo. We're not matching. I mean, we're talking about really getting off the rails. We should matching T-shirts tonight would have really gotten this show going.
Hey, hey, McCall, do you want me to send you a shirt that said "Chicks Dig Jump Hooks"? We have one of those for Tyler Hansborough. How's that sound?
No, I'd like to get the same shirt you guys have. So we're a family.
Yeah, he just wants to come
a tight knit group. We're
What
connected.
about we have one?
Okay, it's all
we have a
college
shirt that says, Jeff
basketball. It's all
Goodman
about being a
can't guard me.
connected team. I'm disconnected from you guys right now. I'm disconnected. My internet's getting disconnected. I don't have the same shirt on as you guys. My microphone's getting disconnected here in Greenwich, Connecticut. Like, get me back down to Florida. I mean, the Northeast. Come on. Can I get back down south, please?
Right. We won't disparage the hotel brand that you're at and, rip on their Wi-Fi at all. We're going to try to keep it appropriate here. But Andrew asks, McCall, why do you hate Tennessee so much? Oh, why does Rob? No, yes, Rob. Rob, why
Read
do you
the
hate
question, Fanta. Read the question. It's not me.
Well, maybe if the font coordinator would put the right thing in the Google Notes, I would have read the question correctly. Rob, why do you hate Tennessee so much?
So I actually like Tennessee. I don't know where this Rob hates Tennessee narrative comes from. The whole bit is that I always get in on Tennessee before everyone else, and then it always blows up in my face. That has been the problem. Like, that's my single biggest issue with Tennessee is that whenever I try to get on the bandwagon, it ends up making me look really dumb. That dates back to the 2021 season when I don't know if you guys remember this, but they started out like 13-0, and I'm like, this team's going to be great. They got Keon Johnson. They got Jaden Springer. Like, this is the year that they're going to make their run. And then they ended up losing like 13 of their last 20 games or something like that and going up in smoke. This year's team, I think, is the best position team that they have to be able to make a run because you still get that toughness defensively, but you also have a guy where, like, you could just say, clear out, go get us a bucket. Like, if you really watch them down the stretch, there's a lot of the I call it the do him offense, right? You see it in AAU ball where you just give the ball to your best player and the coach says, do him, right? Do him. And that's basically what they do with Dalton Connect is they just give him the rock and get the hell out of the way. And it's worked out so far. And sometimes you just need a dude like that. Like, you could run all these fancy sets and these fancy actions, but if you got a guy on your team that the other team can't stop, sometimes you just got to give him the ball and let him cook. That's what Northwestern did tonight. They beat Illinois. That's what they did against Purdue, and they beat Purdue. So that's why I'm more in on Tennessee now than I've been in the past. I just really, really like this Auburn. I just think that there's There's something about the how hard they play, the toughness, the shot making, the turnovers. I'm enamored with that group. So it's more I like Auburn more than anything else, but I got no problems with Tennessee. I'm not a Gator. I got no problems with Tennessee. It's great to be a Tennessee Vol. Good old Rocky Top. Can you finish that for me, McCall?
Stop. We're not doing it.
Let's keep it rolling. Here
Yeah,
we go.
Fanta, keep it rolling, please.
Extra Ducks asks, by the way, our font coordinator tonight for these questions, Dagan Hughes, he's writing the questions. And Dagan, I don't know what the hell you're doing, but every font's been wrong here this evening. So come on, Dagan, wake up. Extra Ducks asks, which mid-majors could get at-larges if they don't get autos? McCall, any mid-major that you like? I've got two that I love that could get an at-large.
I got two as well. Are we considering Dayton as a mid-major? Are they a mid-major?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not a mid-major.
Okay.
Absolutely
All right.
not.
What was your other one?
I'm going to go Grand Canyon. What
Yes.
they're doing right now, Ty and Grant Foster, Coach Drew, it's a great environment in college basketball. I had them earlier in the year on the Arizona tip-off. They lost to South Carolina in the finals, who we all know South Carolina is really good. I mean, that team is extremely talented. I tell people all the time, it really reminds me of when Muss was at Nevada and he had the Martin twins, and they were bigger, faster, stronger, really than anybody in their league. That's what this Grand Canyon team looks like. And I don't just think that they can get an at-large bid. I do think that they get the automatic bid as well. I think they could possibly be a second weekend team in the tournament.
Yeah, they got a guy in Ty and Grant Foster that is like, there's a lot of high major teams they'll go up against where he's the best player on the floor. That's a really good thing to have.
1,000%.
I had Grand Canyon written down. There's four that I think like have a real chance. I would put Indiana State in that conversation as well. I'm not counting St. Mary's in this conversation, just for the record, because St. Mary's is St. Mary's. The fun of this is talking about the teams that people don't know about. I would put James Madison in there because of that win at Michigan State. They kind of got to hope that Michigan State turns it around so that it looks better and they got to win out. I would put McNeese State in that conversation. And the last one, Banta, I think that this is where you're going to go. So I'm going to cede to you and allow you to make this last pick, this last mid-major team, because I'm pretty sure that we're going to be on the same page with this one.
It is Mitch Henderson's Princeton Tigers.
Bingo.
They are
Jersey,
15-1
baby.
on the year. Since February 19th,
Jersey guys.
Since February 19th of last season, Princeton has the best winning percentage in college basketball.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's unbelievable what they've done. Xavier Lee is as improved as any player in the country. This guy went from averaging about 5-6 points per game, if that, to now around 18. Caden Pierce is a tough, you-know-what. Matt Alaco's a leader. They don't care who gets the shine. They share the basketball at an incredible rate. The analytics, yeah, they like them. That's a top 20 offense in college basketball. Could their defense use some work? Yes, but here's the deal. They're 330 in adjusted tempo. So Henderson slows the game down. They share the ball. They take great shots. And they have a bucket getter in Lee. I love this team. I think that the Tigers keep handling business. You could take up to two losses. You cannot take more than two. But if they go into the NCAA tournament and they've lost the Ivy League tournament title game in one league game, you can't keep that team out. Right now, they'd be around the 7 or an 8 seed. They'd be like a 7 seed in the NCAA tournament.
On the Fielding 68 bracket, they had him as a 10 seed, and that just feels a little bit low. I got one more that I think has a chance to be able to get in as an at-large if they're able to put this thing together. Even though they just lost 2 in a row, the Seton Hall Pirates, they've been really impressive. They have no.
Come on. They're in a good. They would be in tonight. They're probably looking at like a 9 or a 10 today. But they're not a mid-major. They're not a mid-major. I think that they will find a way in.
If Dayton's not a mid-major, then
no, because the Atlantic 10, Dayton to me, I think there's some Atlantic. We The Atlantic 10 has some programs that are on a different level than others. Dayton is at the premier level. They're at a premier
Yes.
level. They're a premier program. And Coach
Cream of the
Grant's
crop.
Final Four dark horse, the Flyers. More last call coming. Here we go. It's last call. John Fanta, Rob Doster, Matt McCall. Let's wrap this thing up with rapid fire questions. We got 4 of them to get to. Here we go, McCall. Bram asks, how good is Dayton? Are they dangerous in March?
I mean, Dayton's only lost to 2 people all year. All year. They lost at Northwestern, which we've seen that everybody seems to lose at Northwestern. They lost to Houston on a neutral site. Dayton's the real deal. Deron Holmes is one of the best players in the country. The numbers that he's putting up right now, kudos to Anthony Grant and what he's doing. The Flyers are for real.
That's the easiest team in college basketball to root for, point blank, period. Because of everything that Anthony's been through, the stuff that he's done to help raise awareness for what happened with his daughter, and the fact that he had a team that was national title good in 2020, and the season got blown up out of nowhere. So, yeah, easiest team in the country to root for, Dayton Flyers. Anthony Grant, easiest coach in the country to root for.
Yeah, Deron Holmes is fantastic. He's an All-American, second teamer, I think at worst. That kid is going to be right on that radar. He is having an incredible year. But beyond it, Nate Santos was such a great transfer portal pickup.
Yes.
That guy's a winner. He makes winning plays. He just makes winning plays on both ends of the floor. And they got Kobe Bryant, they got Kobe Elvis. This team, I love the makeup. I think they complement each other really well, and they have a good understanding of who needs to be taking the shots in key spots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they defend at a high level too. I mean, they defend, they guard, and Anthony's using Holmes as like a point forward. He brings the ball up the floor. So as an opposing coach, how do you guard him? You can't double team him. He's getting, 24 a game since league play has started. They put him on the block some. If you double him when he's on the block, when he's on the perimeter, how do you do that? So they're good. They're for real.
I love this one from Bram. Fanta, what's one arena that you want to call a game from? All right, I can't limit it to one. It's too hard to limit it to one. So I'll pick 3.
You have to.
I have to?
He said one.
The Pit. I want to get to Albuquerque. It's on my list. I've heard Bill Raftery did a game there 2 weeks ago and told me about it. Now I need to get there. So I want to get to Albuquerque and call a game at the Pit in New Mexico. I need to see this in person. I really do. I want to go to the Mountain West. I just want to do like a 2-week bender in the Mountain West and call a bunch of Mountain West games.
Did you hear about T.O.'s trip to Albuquerque?
Yeah.
And the war in his lower intestinal tract?
So I'm not going to get involved with all that, but what I will say is this. I have gone on we have traveled with Terrence probably 4 or 5 times. and I got a couple games with him in February in the CAA. And every time I have traveled with Terrence, we get about halfway through the trip, and he all of a sudden just doesn't feel well. T.O., every time I've been on a trip, is it me? Maybe it's me,
No,
but I kind of think
no,
it's him.
he's not built for it.
He's not
The
built for
toughness
the
level's not
travel.
there. He's not built
His
for it.
toughness not-
Toughness is not there. Yeah, he's soft.
Speaking of the Mountain
All right,
West,
Rob.
New Mexico
Rob,
is up 11 right now, and Colorado State down 7 at Nevada.
Can I ask a question?
Nevada
Can I
needs
ask a
to
question?
win.
McCall, you have 30 seconds. Rip Jeff Goodman for his top 20 venues list.
I can't,
Say what you gotta say.
honestly, the fact that the Dayton Flyers are not in there is unbelievable. They sell out every single game. The place is going absolutely bonkers. I've been in there, 5 years at UMass, take the COVID year out of there, 1 year at Chattanooga. So I've been there probably at least 6 times. And I've been to Rupp Arena. I've been to Kansas. I've been to Carolina when I was at Chattanooga. The fact that the Flyers are not in there is unbelievable to me. Unbelievable.
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. It's one of the greatest. Why do you think they do the first 4 in Dayton? Because those people love basketball. And it's not
They
the
put
top
50,000 people in the seats for a 16 versus 16 seed game. Come on,
It's
Jeff.
not in the top 20. They sell out their TBT games.
It's embarrassing. Honestly, he should apologize. We need to release a statement on behalf of Field of 68 and behalf of the Messenger, apologizing for the insanity and the ludicrousness of Jeff Goodman's rankings here. Unacceptable.
One of the greatest environments in college basketball, the Dayton Flyers. Come on.
Preach, McCall. Get on your pedestal. Here's a soapbox. Step up on it. Let them know.
Okay, here we go. Ryan asks, which college basketball program, Rob, could most use Bill Belichick?
DePaul.
Honestly. You think Bill Belichick's getting in the portal? You think he's going to start slinging the NIL around? Oh, you know what he'll do, though? He'll call up Tom Brady. He'll call up Gronk. Those guys will drop a bag. That's all you need. That's right there. That's going to make it happen.
Who could use Bill Belichick right now? I mean, obviously.
Honestly, you know who it is? If we're talking this year, the answer is Villanova. That's the answer. You know I'm right. That's the answer. It's Villanova.
Yeah.
DePaul needs a coach. They don't have a coach. DePaul.
Clemson could use Belichick right now because Clemson's got talent. They got to get back on track. That's going to do it for us.
Hey.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, man.
You got 10
just
seconds.
Take us home.
You got 8.
I was going to make it.
Valise with 7. Valise with 5 for the win. He short-rimmed it.